If you watched my college decision reaction video, you would have seen that I was accepted into Cornell University. Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today I will be talking about why I decided to reject an Ivy League and go to my state school. So I know that this is a bit of a controversial topic and a lot of people are like, oh, why would you decide to go to the state school when you can literally have all the prestige and the nice like small knit community of an Ivy League. And honestly, I do think that there are positive and negative aspects of going to an Ivy League, and it's definitely the best choice for some people and not for other people. And at the end of the day, I think it's really up to you. So anyways, I'm going to be talking about why I personally decided not to go. If you watched my college decision reaction video, you would have seen that I was accepted into Cornell University. I was super happy about that, and just getting into an Ivy League was definitely mind-blowing to me. In the moment, it was a great, exhilarating experience, but once I really decided that I actually had to figure out if I wanted to go, it was like, oh, well, that's a difficult situation to be in. So yeah, it was definitely very difficult. And so the first reason I guess that I decided not to go was because of financials. And as many of you probably know, Cornell and many other Ivy League institutions or just higher up institutions in terms of like private schools and stuff like that are often a lot more expensive than if you went to a public school. And so because of that, I was like, okay, well, I'm on the pre-med track and I want to go to med school in the future. So I didn't think that going and splurging all of my money in undergrad, or my parents' money rather, in undergrad and taking out loans would have been the best idea for me, just because I knew that I wanted to pursue higher education and go to med school, which is not super cheap either in retrospect. And so I was like, okay, I think that I would rather go to a school that is very decent in quality, but is relatively cheaper and more affordable for my family and I. So taking that into consideration, Cornell offered like $5,000 in aid, so the total would have been $90K a year, which would have been extremely expensive. So that would be $60K more than UT when you're adding in like the housing and transportation and all of those other things. And so when I received that financial aid report, I was like, oh, yeah. So that was one of the factors. And the second factor that made me decide that the Ivy League was not for me was, of course, the one that I got accepted to in terms of its community and what I heard about it. So Cornell is known for being a pretty difficult school in terms of its GPA, and there's a lot of GPA deflation in that school, of course, among other schools as well, but Cornell especially, it's one of the more well-known schools for GPA deflation. And because of that, because of the fact that I wanted to do pre-med as well, I was like, okay, well, I don't think that I want to go into med school or go into applying to med school with a very low GPA. And of course, that's something that's factored into when med schools are evaluating applications, but I just knew personally that I would rather not have to have that additional stress and anxiety about my GPA put on me in a school that is known for its rigorous and difficult courses and the low scores that students typically get on a daily basis. And on top of that, there is the depression and suicide rates at Cornell. I hadn't heard that much of it before I got accepted, but once I did a lot of research about the culture and school community at Cornell, and I did find out that the depression rates and suicide rates are fairly high at the university. And I knew that I don't really like to be surrounded by a really negative and toxic atmosphere, and I don't think that I fare well in that kind of situation. And so based on that that information, I kind of was like, okay, well, I want to make a strong knit, tight-knit community that I can really like have fun with and enjoy, and not a community where I'm constantly competing with everyone, all of my peers, and just worrying about like, are we actually friends, or is this like some really toxic relationship that we're just cultivating because we have no one else to talk to? Of course, that is a bit of an exaggeration, but I just think that when I was thinking about that, I was like, okay, I would prefer not to go to a school that is known for its high depression and suicide rates. And so because of that, that was another reason that I was like, I don't know if Cornell will be the right university for me. And so I guess that was definitely one of the main things that I was also considering. And the third and final reason that I decided in the end not to go to the Ivy League university was because my state school offered, I feel like, a decent amount of opportunities as well in terms of research and different pre-med opportunities. And I felt like given the price, there wasn't that much of a discrepancy between my other choice and Cornell. And so I think that especially because at the University of Texas at Austin, which is where I will be attending, because I was accepted into the Health Science Scholars Program, I felt like I would be better supported in terms of like pre-med advice and academic support on the pre-med track. And as a future physician, I knew that UT would offer me a lot of resources and a smaller group of peers that were on the same track as me at UT. And I knew that Cornell was a relatively smaller group, but given that I had the luxury of being in the honors program at UT, I would have like a very similar kind of small school experience at UT, which is kind of weird to think about just because of how huge the school is. But I think that the perk that I had at my other option was definitely one of the big things that made me think, okay, maybe Cornell isn't the right place for me. Maybe I can have like the same amount of fun as UT with the same kind of support, even more support potentially because of that small community. And the Health Science Scholars Program, or HSS, has about 50 people per cohort, and I was like, okay, that seems like a really good deal overall. And I was super happy about like the kind of opportunities and like relationships that students were able to form in that smaller community, and that was something that definitely attracted me to UT as opposed to Cornell. And so in retrospect, I think that I would have been very happy at Cornell University if I had chosen it, but I don't regret my decision to choose the University of Texas at Austin. And for anyone that's watching this that may be considering whether or not to go to an Ivy League or to even apply to one, I think honestly my biggest piece of advice would be to really consider what you are looking for in a school before you even apply, because that's a really big thing for me that I wish I had done so much when I was applying, was just kind of like really consider what I wanted in a school and like if I would genuinely go there if I was accepted, because I don't think that I was really thinking it through when I was applying to all of those schools. And I think it's always helpful to kind of have an idea of what you're shooting for rather than just applying to schools because of their reputation or their prestige and things like that. And so I think that's something that's really important to consider. Sometimes the school that is better, more reputable in general, or just has like more clout is not always going to be the school for you. And I think it's extremely crucial to recognize that and just kind of make your decisions based on what you truly want and not what like the rest of society is telling you or what your parents are telling you, your teachers, or anything like that. Like, yes, they can give amazing advice, but at the end of the day, it really is up to you. And I'm honestly super happy with the decision that I made. And I think that there were definitely some sacrifices that I had to make when making these decisions. And so aside from the Ivy League, I also did end up not going to the BSMD program that I got into. A lot of my teachers and friends were shocked that I ended up not choosing the BSMD just because it's a direct acceptance into a medical school. But for me personally, I wanted to shoot higher. I wanted to give myself more opportunities and chances to explore different fields before I committed myself to a field in medicine and a career as a physician. And so I knew that despite the fact that I did have that reserved seat in medical school, it wouldn't mean anything in the end if I decided that practicing medicine wasn't for me. And I totally respect the people that are able to commit at this age, but just after a lot of soul searching really and reflection, I decided that it was not for me. And I'm super excited for what's gonna happen in the future, and I'm a little scared, but I think that college is going to be a fun experience regardless, and if you are going to college or are in college or are applying to college, I think it's just really important to keep that in mind, that you can truly be happy wherever you are, and that as long as you make the most out of your experiences, everything is going to be great. So just don't put too much pressure on yourself, and I really hope that this video has given you some insight into what you may do for your application cycle, or how to just enjoy college and just figure out what you want to do in life. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Say bye, Jelly. Bye bye. Oh, and if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. It really helps me to support this channel, and I will definitely be making more videos in the future about my experiences at college, and potentially even my vacation that I'm going to be spending about 3 weeks in China. So I think that will be super fun, and if that's something that you would be interested in, like watching a vlog, then please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys next time.